Hi everyone, my name's Pedro, and in this video we're going to be looking at how to approach map and plan labeling questions for the IELTS listening section. So these questions come up regularly and are particularly common in section 2. On the question paper, you'll see a map, which is usually a part of a town, or a plan, which is usually part of a building. This visual represents what you will hear in the audio. You'll need to listen carefully and label a diagram by choosing the correct letter from the options that are usually available. There are between 5 and 8 numbered questions. However, there are occasions when you will not be given a list of options to choose from. If you do have a list of options, then there will be more letters than questions available, and you can only use each letter once. A plan will usually involve listening to a tour, whereas with a map, you will usually listen to proposed changes for the location. Whether it is a map or a plan, this task assesses your ability to understand the description of a place and relate this to a visual representation. As with all IELTS questions, you should start by reading the instructions. Make sure you read the instructions carefully, as the wording and what you have to do can vary. In this example, the instructions tell you to choose 5 answers from the box and write the correct letters A to H next to answers 11 to 15. In this type of question, you decide which label from the box fits in the numbered gaps in the plan. However, in this other example, you are asked to write the correct letter, A to H, next to questions 14 to 20. This is different to the previous example, as the questions are separate from the map. Instead, the map has letters to show the missing information, and you need to choose the letter for each question. Make sure you read any labels and titles, as this will provide the context to the questions and the audio. This will then make it easier for you to follow the speaker. This will also be useful, as sometimes there is no word list for you to choose from, so knowing the context will help you to predict the missing word. Just like every listening question, the answers will be in the same order in the audio as they are listed, if they are listed. However, due to the nature of the task, make sure you quickly locate where the questions are on the map or plan, as it may not be as linear as you expect. Looking at this example, after locating question 11, you can see that the following question is the room opposite, before moving on to the question in the library area and continuing clockwise to the end. It's important to locate these questions, as some candidates may assume that the audio will move around the plan in a clockwise direction, so they jump from question 11 to 13. Of course, with the numbers in front of you, this may sound silly, but when you're under pressure and feeling stressed, things like this could happen. Now, this may seem a little different, but try to imagine standing in the location in the diagram. Take a look around. What can you see? In this example, imagine walking through the entrance into the library. What route are you taking? With this type of question, understanding the language of location and direction will be important. Remember that location is where something is in relation to another, so common vocabulary might include near, opposite, between, or next to. Direction is related to movement, and common words could be turn right, go straight on, head north, or go past. As I've mentioned in my previous listening videos, you need to be aware of synonyms and paraphrasing. Remember that while you're listening, you will not be listening to the exact words that are in the questions. Instead, you need to listen for words and phrases that have the same meaning. In this example, for option G, can you think of anything else instead of periodicals? Perhaps magazines or newspapers might be mentioned. For option F, instead of multimedia, you might hear CD-ROMs or DVDs. And that's all for today's video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section. I hope it's been useful. Good luck with your studies, and I'll see you in the next video.